Hider, dude. It's on mute.
Name for the record, Nori. We'll start with Bob, Vice Chair.
Bob Abriola, co-chair.
Thank you very much. And Nori.
Here. I think you can hear me now.
Thank you very much. And we have Brian Casper.
Brian Casper, voting member.
Thank you so much. And Janet.
Janet Evelyn, voting member.
Okay, excellent. And we have
Mark, we can't hear you that well.
Okay.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
Stand by. Oh, that's better now, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, Jolie.
Mr. Mayhor.
Jolie, voting member here.
Jolie Leung. Do we pronounce your name Leung?
Loom. Loom.
Leung? Okay, thank you so much. And Melissa?
Melissa Matuska, voting member.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody that I missed? I heard from Matt Callahan, who's unable to be here or may be late due to school. And Emerson Srinidhi is now officially going to be stepping down as the sort of like fill-in for Tom Keegan of Common Council. Taking his plate is going to be a new member starting officially June 1st. Her name is Elizabeth Tardif. Spoke to her today. She's a lovely person, and she's strong on arts and economics of arts. So that's really, I think that's a great fit for us. And Brian, Bob, I believe you know her as well.
What's her name?
Elizabeth Tardif.
Oh, yeah, I know Liz. I know Liz. Yeah, very well.
Yeah, so she's going to be taking Emerson's spot.
Oh, that's cool. What happened with Emerson? What?
Emerson is stepping down because he doesn't have time with his current work schedule, and also he's going to be looking for work, and he's got some other things coming up that he might
Okay.
going to take him further out of availability.
Got it.
So is she on the Common Council, or is she representing someone from the Common Council? How does that work?
She's going to be appointed by Tom Keegan,
Keegan, okay.
who is the sole RTC member of the Common Council. So she's his fill-in.
Yeah.
And okay, we can move forward. Do we have anybody from the public here to participate?
We do not.
Julio just texted me and he's saying he can only join as an attendee.
If he joins as an attendee, I can promote him to a panelist once he joins in.
Okay, I'll tell him to do that.
Okay, do we want to wait a moment for Julio, Sabrina?
We can get started since we have to do the minutes and stuff like that. Do you want me to share my screen?
That'd be great.
Okay.
Did everybody receive the agenda and the minutes from last month? And did anyone have any questions or issues with the minutes as noted?
Received, no issues, Mark.
Okay,
Same. I got him. No issues.
No issues for me.
excellent. Do we have a motion? I'm sorry, I apologize.
Just said no issues as well.
Okay, excellent. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as noted in the email?
I'll motion to approve.
And do we
I'll
have a
second Bob's motion. Brian Casper.
Thank you very much. You just state your name as a matter of I. I, Mark Allen.
I'm Melissa Matuska.
Hi, Janet Evelyn.
I, Brian Casper.
And I was here, but I couldn't speak, so I can vote aye.
Okay.
I, Jolie Leung.
Okay, excellent. So we have a quorum, ayes carry, so the minutes are approved.
Sabrina, Julio is on the phone, he says.
I just allowed him to talk. And then I think from there, he should be able to speak when he wants to unmute and stuff like that now.
Okay.
Yeah, we can fold that into the MLK update anyway, unless Julio, you have something else you need to add as a other issue.
I think he's okay, Mark, until we get to the MLK stuff.
Okay, excellent. In that case, we can go on to the budget committee update from Nori, if you will, and Sabrina.
It, just going over the funding and everything, it looks like this, that we have a balance of $6,120, but I also have to look at, we've moved some funds over at the beginning of the month to pay Michelle. And we need to use up all this money by June.
So once the banners are printed for Washington Street for the spring installation / summer installation, most of the money will be used, if not all of it. But not taking away from Michelle and not taking away from our minutes takers, obviously.
But we had on the table about buying the, I don't know what they're called, the ones that hang up tall like that and they're cloth for the Nice Festival.
Yeah,
That will come out of next year's budget. That's
Oh,
on the
okay.
agenda tonight to discuss.
Oh, all right.
So next year's budget, we'll have, I don't know yet since the operating budget was passed last night and I didn't get the final amounts yet. But once I have that, we can then strategize on what we would like to pay for. We obviously won't need the barriers to be covered again. So that's going to be probably a significant amount of our budget put back.
Mhm.
And that's why I have Michelle later on in the agenda to up her budget for the newsletter as well. And that would start as of July 1st when we have the additional funds. And then on the agenda as well, I have the sponsorship opportunities, kind of what we want to do in that regard. If we have a set amount that we want to be able to give when people ask, or how we want to go about that. So those are all items on the agenda, but for this year's budget, none of that stuff would be spent out for those types of things.
Okay.
Sabrina, you and I have talked a few times, and I know you allude to, you call it my budget, like I guess that's a separate budget, city budget. Can you just elaborate, like, because I know you can move money around once in a while, just to help me understand that?
So I have a $9,000 printing budget that's remaining in my operating account. So I am going to use some of that to print 2 tablecloths for the Arts Commission, as well as for the banners if there's any gap.
Okay, and that's under like what, the tourism, like
It's
Jessica's
business
budget?
development and tourism. Yeah, it's
development,
my
okay.
operating budget for my
Got it.
department.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you for contributing.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Was there anything else on the capital side, Sabrina? from
Yeah,
this
so
one?
I had requested 2 capital requests. We've only gotten one of them and we only got half of the one that we asked for, which is the Art in Public Places program. So I had asked for 50, but we only got 25, which is currently the MLK corridor budget, which is that 50,000, which we still have and are spending down for Julio and that project. And that amount will still roll over until the project's completed. So that money is secure and fine. But we have 25 additional $1,000 for next year to do another project.
Does the Maritime Gallery come out of that one? The art and
No,
parking
the
places?
Maritime Gallery is separate out of the Parking Authority budget.
Okay.
So this budget you're showing now is for this year or that's for next year?
Next year.
Okay.
And
I see. So the
that's
25,000 that's shown is what we are using for MLK.
No, the $50,000 is in another.
Oh, right. We had 50.
Yep,
You requested 50. We got 25 for next year.
correct.
What's that line item, Sabrina? Which one?
It's this one, Art in Public Places program.
Okay, okay, got it, yeah.
In our budget year ends in June,
Yep, June 31st.
June 31st. Okay.
Now, Sabrina, do we have any access to the arts and culture?
Yeah.
Or is
Can
that
you,
for you to delegate? To where you
The
need
Arts
money?
and Culture Plan, it's not a program, they messed that up. So that's a plan that's gonna be through my office to prioritize kind of what gets funding and where. So you guys will be involved in the process, but not spending that money. That money is gonna go to somebody to create that plan for us.
so who's going to create that plan?
Probably a consultant, and it'll have to go out to RFP.
All right.
And
What are
what
the,
kind of programs will it include? I mean, what is it designated for?
It's gonna create a plan that essentially says what assets we have in the city from an arts and culture perspective. That includes festivals, theaters, assets like, you know, sculptures, murals, anything like that, and prioritize them within the plan and see where the gaps are so that we can allocate funding to them.
to be honest with you, it seems strange that the Arts Commission budget, it's not cut, but you know, the capital budget gets cut in half. But there's
Yeah,
like significant money being spent on arts and culture that we're not directly a part of.
So
or have.
the arts and culture plan is just like an arm of the tourism stuff. Like you guys will be
I see.
involved in the process. It's just not your own money. I requested that in my budget.
I see. Okay.
And it gets almost everything that anybody asked for capital budget this year got cut in half.
I see. Okay.
I asked for $100,000 for arts and culture. I got half. I asked for 200 for entrepreneurship. I got half.
Okay.
It just happened that way.
I
So
see.
it happens.
Do they know you asked, like, do you over ask for your budget knowing that they'll only give you half, or do you play that game with the budget, or?
We used to play that game, but I did not play that game because last year I did not play that game and it worked out fine. So I figured, to be honest.
Okay.
But note to self, I guess, for next year.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay. We can move on to the Communications Committee, which is really nothing new to report except that I did have a conversation with Bob and later with Sabrina. We discussed the need for support for a newsletter. We've all discussed the newsletter, and I believe that, you know, I had hoped that from the Communications Committee we would be able to launch this. And I just don't think that, given our work schedules, I just don't think that there's going to be that amount of time to really do that consistently every month. And I basically had proposed that we, you know, talking to Bob, we talked about proposing that Michelle, we increase her hours, 1 hour a week for the month, so 4 hours for the month, where she would be able to gather the news items. We would still recommend the news items that we want to include, but she would do the administrative work to create the newsletter and send it out each month. So that's something we'll need to vote on. You know, if there are other opinions on that, certainly we want to hear them.
Mark, why couldn't we do it quarterly, like 4 times a year, quarterly? I think it's a shame that we don't do it because, you know, as we talked, I thought it can be great information that can go into the Norwalk Hour, right? There's a lot of events going on that it's being missed out there, or we're not communicating. So I feel we have a responsibility in communication to do it.
So
We've
what do you
been
mean
looking at-
quarterly? You mean a weekly?
No, quarter, we could, if you're saying we don't have enough time to do a monthly newsletter, then do them quarterly.
No, I'm saying we should do a monthly newsletter. I'm just saying that Michelle would be the administrative
Oh, okay.
position to get the monthly newsletter out.
I misunderstood you. I thought you were saying we were pressed for time and we couldn't do it.
I'm saying you're pressed for time for where you would do it or I would do it. And
Yeah,
you know,
no,
our
of course.
community.
We would manage and oversee, but Michelle can do the kind of the back end
Exactly.
writing, and we would help that. Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. I misunderstood what you said.
In terms of the agenda, we can get to that under new business. But otherwise, the social media has been continuing. We haven't done, I want to hear from Julio about what the next step of MLK is. I think we did a pretty good job in getting the word out through social media about the Dream Street project. We had a fair number of submissions. And as we move into the next phase, we'll support that through social media however we can. But that's where it stands now.
And then, Mark, next is the event stuff. Weaverson is here, so I can promote him to a panelist so that he can speak to it.
Okay, in that case, we can go on to the art manifestation.
Just got a text from Weberson. He's having trouble finding a link. I just resent him the meeting link, so hopefully that works for him.
I think
He's
here.
in here.
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. There we go.
Yeah, I was very confused because I looked for the link online and then like I noticed I couldn't actually be in the meeting. So I just wasn't sure what was going on. Thanks, Brian. So yeah, so as far as the art manifestation, I know that at the last time that we spoke, you guys were waiting to vote and kind of make a decision on how to progress. But I've also I've been reaching out for extra help, and I also spoke with Brian the last couple of days about just having his input as an artist as well, in kind of helping us navigate the waters. And we also wanted to actually approach the commission for sponsorship, to actually get some monetary sponsorship in order to make the festival happen. And that's part of what I also wanted to kind of come back in the meeting today as well. I don't know if you guys had any other questions or if you guys would like to actually meet to kind of go further into explaining what's the development has been with the festival or anything of that nature.
Weberson, why don't you update everybody, because on the steps that you have taken since then, as far as meeting with Jessica Casey and meeting with Jim Travers and so on.
So so we met with Jessica and Jim to get further details on what will be the best kind of practices in executing the festival, and looking at all the permitting aspects of things, and what we should be like the steps that we should be taking in order to make the festival happen. So we're currently in the process of getting all our things together to actually put the application together. We've also been reaching out to sponsors. We've gotten, we have a link that's live right now where we're asking for donations, and we've raised over $600, and we actually got one of the local businesses to come in as a sponsor as well. So things are coming in together, and yeah, so that's kind of where we are.
Weren't we supposed to get a document, Mark, from on this from the last meeting? I thought we were supposed to get something. I don't remember getting anything.
I have our link.
Because you guys, you and Jess were talking at the end, and then you said, we got this document, we'll send it over to you. And that was last month, and I don't remember getting it.
So I think we shared it with Jessica while we were chatting when we met, but I can definitely share the link right now if that is helpful.
I think if you're going to present to the commission, we should have, you know, you've been speaking through it, but getting it in writing would be helpful for us as well.
Okay. So I mean, in writing, do you mean just getting like an actual printed? Because you know,
No,
we have-
it could be it could be electronic file. Just you know, it sounds like you're asking for sponsorship, so I think we would need to get more detail, electronic file, right? So if you have a
Sure.
purpose, write-up, dates, kind of all the background that you've talked through, you should have in like a proposal.
Yeah. Is there a way that I can share that with you guys right now? Is there a question? Can I share the link right now so we can all look at it, or not?
Well, you could share in the Zoom meeting, but I think if you email it as well to the commission, that would be good too.
No, yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Like
But
right
you
now,
can-
you mean?
Yeah, you can share it now. You can take us through the finer point.
How do I,
Strokes.
how can I share the link here? I mean, I'm clicking the question and answer button, but there's no way for me to actually write anything.
There should be a green button that says share screen.
I think Sabrina has to enable you.
Oh, she's got to get it. Okay. Got
You can physically share your screen now, but he's also talking about emailing it out. If you each
Yeah.
email it to one of us, we can share it.
Okay,
You can
cool.
share your own screen now.
Yeah,
Okay,
just share your screen and talk through it.
okay. Sorry, I got like all these things up here right now. Can you guys see my screen right now?
it. Nope.
Nope.
Okay, 1 second. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know if you can see it with all of your faces on there, so it's kind of getting in the way. So we have a hard copy of this document, and I will make sure to share it to either you know, all the contacts that I have via email right after the meeting. And this is our deck for the festival. Sorry, I'm just trying to get organized here. Okay. So as you guys know, well, we're the Mad Lab. I won't go into too much detail about who we are, but the nonprofit that we're collaborating with is Rise Up for Arts. They are a nonprofit, a 501c3, and they've done like multiple projects around the entire state. He collaborates with cities and townships, and they focus a lot on helping create public art projects. You know, they're actually, I'm not sure if they are connected with the MLK mural as of now, but you know, they actually have their own project going on where they are creating 39 murals around Connecticut, around MLK, to celebrate the life of MLK. So they're, you know, they're our fiduciary in this project, and he's kind of like helping us as well and mentoring us. We're also collaborating with Sustainable CT, and they're an organization that helps raise money for art, community art projects or public art. So with the main focus of our project being the mural competition, where we will be creating 4 new murals in the art park during the festival, and they'll be, you know, left at the art park. These will all be public pieces of art that will be open to anybody to enjoy once the festival's up. And they will match every dollar up to $7,500 that we raise from now up until May 22nd. And that's kind of our big push right now. So as far as the festival goes, I've talked about this with you guys before, but essentially there will be 4 muralists that will compete. What we'll do once the money is raised, we're going to put up a call for artists. And again, please let me know if you guys want me to focus more on the project itself or the sponsorship specifically, because I can skip ahead. But as far as the project goes, there's going to be an art competition. Once we raise the money, we're going to organize a call for artists, and we're really focused on showcasing Connecticut artists. You know, the main focus for the festival is to create the foundation for Connecticut creatives, and we want to bring in as many Connecticut artists as possible to really connect our communities and kind of bring us closer together. So once this art call for artists goes live, we'll keep it up for about a month, and then we'll select the best muralists. And once the muralists have been selected, for the muralists, we'll actually get a budget for materials, and they'll be compensated for their time during the festival to actually paint the mural. And we want to do that because we want to actually pay artists. We don't want this to just be something where like everybody that we're working with is just doing favors. We want to create a really big art show in essence. That's kind of like how we're wording it. It's not just a festival, but it's like a group art show where, you know, we're gonna have music and live muralists and, you know, artists that are actually showcasing their art and selling their art as well. So, you know, a lot of the budget is going towards, as you guys know, like the infrastructure, permitting, and also paying the artists. And we'll also create a panel of judges for the competition. And our hopes is that, you know, in collaborating with the commission, that, you know, we would like to have one of the commission members as one of the panelists. We're looking for kind of other people who are involved in our local art community to participate. And, you know, once the money is raised, we'll kind of dive into all of the details and figuring out who the panelists will be, and creating the criteria for how to actually judge. We'll also provide workshops during the festival because we want people to actually participate. You know, so there'll be multiple different ways that we'll do this. One will be tents that will have artists that are getting paid for their time, and they will be hosting workshops similar to what we do here at the lab, so that guests of the festival can come and they can pay a small fee and participate in these art projects. And in addition to that, and I'll go on to the next one. And then in addition to that, we will have different free art opportunities during the festival. One of the things that we're thinking right now is like a big community mural where we can have people either come and like throw a paint balloon at the wall. You know, we're still developing ideas where we can get people to just like not have to pay like a workshop, but can just, you know, choose to just participate and just get creative for a little bit. And in essence, throughout the entire day, the whole community can create a big art project. We're also collaborating with multiple artists to create different art installations that can be exhibited during the festival. In my conversation with Brian Casper earlier this week, you know, there was a talk about, you know, maybe we could do something like live painting and painting a car or something of that nature. You know, and those are the types of projects that we're looking to create during the festival with the budget, as well as paying for music and entertainment and creating the infrastructure for that, which Mark would be a huge asset in helping us kind of execute that as well. And then we'll also have artisan tents for artists to participate and sell their work and show their work. And then this is the sponsorship tiers, which is what we've curated and is actually live right now through on the Sustainable CT website. So any of the sponsors who sponsor are kind of sponsoring in this manner. Right, so you know, with sponsorships, you will be present in our marketing as we start to promote, as we continue to promote the festival. You know, the branding for the Arts Commission will be on our flyers, our official flyers, depending on the different tiers, right? You know, like we're looking for something like obviously whatever the commission feels like they can afford and they feel like is fitting for them. But you know, with $1,000 sponsorship, the commission would have a 10x10 artisan booth at the festival where they can, you know, promote the commission, and you know, they can collect emails and connect with the local community and talk to the artists. You know, as we are bringing all of these artists from all around Connecticut, is an opportunity to kind of broaden kind of the reach of the commission. And then we'll also have staff t-shirts that we were going to create, and the logos will be on that as well. And then if we choose to kind of go in higher tiers, the commission can also have their actual marketing on other advertisement throughout the festival, like the main stage and things of that nature. And if the commission would like to be the main sponsor and the title sponsor, you know, we will name the festival after the commission. So it'd be like the art manifestation brought to you by the Norwalk Arts Commission. So, you know, and this is, you know, I hope that this is kind of in the direction that you guys are, I'm answering some of the questions.
I think you've done a good job.
Do we have any
It
other
certainly has
questions?
come a long way. It's certainly come a long way since we spoke to you last month.
Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, you know, my business is participating in this, and I am, you know, I'm acting as an advisor directly to this art manifestation, and Brian Casper is as well. And Bob, you had talked about at one point, you know, what would it mean for us to collaborate? And I think that Weverson has impressed me with the fact that he's looking for us to collaborate to make this, you know, a very, very upscale festival. And I feel confident in that personally. The only thing I think that the challenge that we have here, Weverson, is on a funding level, because the Arts Commission budget is basically spoken for up until the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a new budget that starts June 1st. Sorry, is it, Sabrina, that's July 1st, right?
July
It's
1st.
July 1st. Yeah.
July 1st. So, you know, we could certainly consider it for July, but in terms of you raising sponsorship money in advance of May 22nd, I think that would be a real challenge for us.
I mean, that's all. I mean, obviously, we'd still take that as well, that sponsorship. It's just that it won't kind of go towards that first round where it would actually get matched. So, you know, I mean, you know, our budget, the way that we've kind of planned the festival is upwards of $15,000. You know, we kind of actually estimated to be like $20,000 to $22,000 for everything. And you know, that will develop as like the permitting starts coming in and we have the final numbers on like all the things that will be necessary. So I mean, the sponsorships will still be available for grabs, and we'll still take those donations after our May 22nd date. It's just that it won't kind of get doubled, but obviously we would still love to partner up and take the donation whenever the commission feels like it's appropriate or they can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Is this set up as a non-for-profit? Like how are you handling all the, you know, all the financials?
Yeah, so we've partnered with Rise Up, who is the fiduciary. So, you know, it is getting funneled through them. So it will
Through
be
them?
a profit.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Do we have any other questions from the commission?
Yeah, Waverson, where would the proposed murals, I think you said 4, maybe 5 murals would be installed in the Isaac Park? Where would they be? What are the potential locations for those?
Sure. Are you familiar with the art park?
I am.
Yeah, so you know how there's 2 different sizes. There's each of those like mural walls, they're
4 feet by 6 feet.
4 feet by 6 feet. Some of them are doubled, but the ones that we're proposing will be the smaller ones. So it'll be
Okay.
below, it'll be, like along the same line and probably closer to the end, like closer to the Mad Lab. And on each line, there will be a new plot. And
I
so each
see.
plot has two sides.
Right.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
got you.
So Weverson, is your specific ask for $1,000 sponsorship? Is that?
I mean, at this point, I think, I would like more, to be completely honest, because it could definitely help. And, when, we're doing everything that we can to raise as much money as possible. But to have, I think if we could get a $2,500 sponsorship could go a long way. I'm hopeful and I'm confident that we'll reach our 7,500 goal. We have a long way to go. And if the commission also has any organizations or any businesses that they think would like to participate in this project, please let us know. But I think with that tier of representation, we can also really give the commission a heavier representation as a partner within the festival, as opposed to just like one of the smaller donations that are just kind of the smaller donations that just get the logos and stuff. I would love the commission to have a bigger presence in the festival.
Okay. Sabrina, is this something that, do you think that there would be any potential for this within Visit Norwalk, or is that your Visit Norwalk?
So we're helping them via marketing, but we have no budget for sponsorship. It's like city stuff that we can't use that because it wasn't in the original contract.
Mm-hmm.
So we're helping them with kind of in-kind services on that front. But yeah, we don't have, money that we could spend on stuff like that.
Okay.
Is it possible to spin this a little bit so it's less of a sponsorship and more of a marketing for the Arts Commission and to tap into the marketing fund?
No, because the contract is for tourism for the city of Norwalk. So any sponsorship, we normally don't do sponsorship because then you run into a problem on our end where we're using budgets for certain things and not others. And when you're giving money to one person, you have to pretend like you're going to give it to all of them.
Understood. Yeah, makes sense.
There. But definitely if we wanted to, well, we couldn't get it to them by the May date regardless, because it would have to be approved and it wasn't on the agenda as an approval of that sponsorship. But come the next meeting, I can either pull it out of my operating budget or the new operating budgets of next year and just have to pay it as of July 1st when the money hits the accounts. Because at the next meeting, I'll be able to tell you exactly what's in the operating accounts.
Mm-hmm.
We can strategize. However, right now I don't have those numbers for next year, so I can't give you a yay or nay with how much we have or what we don't have.
Okay.
See, I think speaking for myself, I do think that this is worthy for us to support, but I think we also need to have a more broad conversation now about supporting events in general, which is part of our agenda today. We have the NICE Festival coming up, which we have supported in the past, and we do want to support this year. And I think we need to think about, what is our level of support, and what are we paying for, and how much are we going to pay? We can consider each one on a case-by-case basis, but I think it would be good to us to have that conversation about, the budget that we do have coming up and how much we're willing to spend on events in general. Does anybody else concur with that idea?
I agree, Mark. It should be tabled as a separate topic, for sure.
Yeah, but I do. As a matter of endorsing it at the festival, I think you've come a long way, and I'm certainly comfortable with it. I don't know how others feel. but like for instance, we at the Nice Festival in the past, we had voted to have a booth, and we were going to support with having Arts Commission presence at the Nice Festival. I certainly would like to see Arts Commission have a presence at this festival. And myself, I think.
Did we do a booth at the Nice Festival, or we just talked about it?
We had voted for it, but it ended up not happening because of COVID.
Right, okay.
But in the past, prior to 2020 and the pandemic, the Arts Commission supported us through those banners. And I mentioned the last time that we did the poetry banners that we hang, around South Norwalk from the Arts Commission. I think there were about 4 of them or so, or something along those lines. So so basically it was from that level, but the Arts Commission never had a booth prior. It was in discussion for 2020, but prior to 2020, the Arts Commission did not have a booth at the festival, just the banners.
Got it.
Okay. And Jenna, what was that level of support that we committed for the banners in the past?
So, so it was about $1,000 because the banners were $250, and I think we did 4. There were 2 that was funded by the Poet Laureate budget, and 2 that were supported out of the Arts Commission budget.
Okay.
And at that time, there was a separate, like within the Arts Commission budget, there was a separate budget line item that was a budget allocated to the Poet Laureate. And Nora, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but.
Yeah, the Poet Laureate we shared their budget for buying things with the library.
So
Right, so.
did we sponsor though the festival by donating money, or we bought banners?
You just bought you just bought the banners. You were
Yeah,
not
that's not a sponsor. Then
Yeah.
that's buying banners. It's different, Mark.
So,
Well,
it
it's
is
not
a
different.
sponsor. No, so because part of our sponsorship level includes, helping to bring these banners to the city that makes the occasion, that promotes and makes the occasion. So it is a sponsorship on a much lower level than some of the other sponsorships that we do get, but it is a sponsorship. Even at the 250 level, which is what the banners are, the price for the banner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So speaking was on the same list of events, Make Music Day, which is, as you guys know, I'm the principal organizer for Make Music Day. I'm not asking the Arts Commission for any money for that, but I am hoping that the Arts Commission will represent itself through printed banners. So that's maybe more of a conversation about printed materials than say an event sponsorship. But I think at that $1,000 level for Nice Festival and Art Manifestation, I'm entirely comfortable with that. Does anybody else have any opinions on that that are relevant?
I would like to see what our yearly budget is first before we commit.
Yeah. I'm not ready
money.
to vote on that.
We should vote on it because if Sabrina asked for money and got half.
Yeah, so we can't vote on it tonight anyway, since it wasn't on the agenda. But the budget I will have for the next meeting, and that's when you can strategize on how much of it you want to spend on each. And before we come to the meeting, I can pull out the money that would Michelle and for Telesco, which are things we have to pay for. And then we can see what's left and see what we want to do with it.
Okay, that sounds entirely reasonable.
yeah. And then I also want to mention if that, in regardless of, the sponsorship or however we move forward, I just want to say that we want to give this festival and what we're doing, provide that platform to the commission to take full advantage of in whichever way they feel could be advantageous. You know, like the first thing we ever did when we opened the Mad Lab was create an event, a giant networking event where we brought 30 artists together with the intention of, like, it was an arts commission event to just bring people to actually sign up and to be like the art workforce that could tap into the commission. So I would love to welcome the commission to kind of look if there is an opportunity to just let us know, because, you know, like with the sponsorship, or if it becomes a tent or whatever it is, I would love to be intentional about, you know, oh, like this is how we should take full advantage of it, is we have a project that's going to happen in September or at the end of the year where we need to do a call for artists, or we're trying to, you know, like take a survey or whatever it is. I would love to kind of be intentional and being able to facilitate and help the commission in that way, so that it's not just we have a tent and we're just going to sit there for 8 hours and we don't know, you know. So I would love to help, you know, to give our all in helping create the best opportunity for the commission within the festival itself, whether it being branded as a commission sanctioned event, or, you know, or any of that type of thing. So I just wanted to make that clear.
All right. Thank you so much, Weberson.
Yeah. And should I bring anything else for the next meeting? Is there anything else that I should kind of have prepared for that one, or is it?
I would think you definitely email this to me and to Sabrina, and we'll make sure that it goes to all the voting members.
Fantastic. I will do that as soon as I get off this call.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Okay, we can move on to the infrastructure committee update. Just so everybody knows, in the past with the infrastructure committee, we had collectively voted on Emerson leading that committee. Come to, just through discussions with Sabrina subsequently, you realize that we really don't, that's not something we really need to vote on. The committees are created as a matter of policy, and it's not backed by ordinance, and there's no money expenditure, so we don't necessarily need to vote on that. But that said, Emerson is stepping down, and when Emerson had become the lead, Bob was at that time was going to lead the committee, but he's actually quite busy with work, and so I'm going to appoint Brian as an interim sort of leader of the infrastructure committee, for the sake if he's going to organize a new meeting and sort of get that spearheaded and moving forward, because we really need to move forward on all that stuff. And Bob has signed off on that as well. So
Yeah.
If anybody has any other opinions on that, I'm certainly open, but I just like Brian to sort of get that organized, get it scheduled, and start moving forward.
Fully supportive to Brian. He'll do a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all my client work dried up, so I got nothing to do.
I vote for Brian, yay.
All right, excellent.
No, doesn't need a vote, but yeah.
So very good. So next month, Brian, you'll lead the discussion on infrastructure, but we're going to kick it over to Janet now for the MLK update. And thank you very much.
Yes, so I'm not sure if Julio is on the line, if he can hear us. I don't see where he may have joined the call, but there he is. But we had, as you know, part of this project included launching and doing this MLK cleanup as a part of our community outreach program for the MLK art installation. And that was held on April 18th, which was just amazing. It was an amazing weather day. We had an excellent turnout, and From what I understand, we had picked up over close to 700 pounds of garbage along Martin Luther King Boulevard. So that was really well done. The number of the potential artists that had submitted turned out for that event, and I know that Julio has orchestrated or has put a list together of the potential artists and those that have submitted, and he's kind of like put together a short list of those that he think have the required capacities or background that could lend their skills very well to that project. So I think what I'm going to do now is let Julio tell you more about the artists and some of the next steps.
Is Julio here now?
Is Julio, can you hear? Are you here? Looks like he is, but he's muted.
Hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, you look
Yes.
a little different.
I'm sorry. I'm stuck in a traffic jam in Washington D.C. area, so I apologize for the difficulties to get through. Yes, Janet, thank you very much. Yes, the MLK cleanup event was very successful. It was really a great event, and it was great to see people from the community come out, and it was just very fulfilling for me personally. To make a difference like that in the community. So definitely thank you to everyone who came out, from the Arts Commission. I really appreciate that support. And, I think we really did something special. Also, as Janet said, we had, I believe, 25 submissions to participate in the arts project. I've made the list of the 10 that I think that I want to proceed with. And I'm going to add 2 more names, so it's going to be a total of 12. Just because there were a lot of people that were very interesting, and I said, well, if we can just include a few more people, I think it'll be great. So what I'm going to do is put together a list with a little bio on each person, maybe. Hopefully some samples of the work, if not, at least a link for you guys to go and see the work yourselves. It was a great mix of people that applied. A lot of people from Connecticut, and then we got actually some people, from Montreal. I believe a girl is out of Barcelona, I believe, or is living in Barcelona. Someone out of Denver, I believe, as well. So it was really interesting to see that the message got out that far, and certainly, there was a lot of really talented people that for sure, very exciting possibilities. So yeah, that's next steps for me are going to give you like a breakdown of the people of the list, and I'd like to immediately contact them. And what I'm hoping to do within the next couple of weeks is have a briefing where I'm going to go through the project with the artist specifically. We're going to look at we're going to show the locations. We're going to talk about the locations, and then go through the proposal process as to what it is that we want to see from the artist as far as the proposal is concerned. And yeah, part of that will be the community component. So I'm in discussions with people from the community to have them be a part of this artist briefing, so they can at least bring their point of view as to what the community feels would be interesting for art. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And then from that briefing, we'll give a deadline that will be for the proposals. And once those proposals are in, I'm hoping to have some sort of art show. Obviously, we're in COVID time, so that might be difficult. But I would love to, find maybe it's one of the local artist spaces that, put up a show with all the submissions for the proposals. And then, kind of everyone can kind of get to look at it. And from that will be the final recommendations that will bring to the Parks Committee or whoever, or the mayor's, to the mayor's office. Sabrina, who would need to see it next?
All of the proposals the mayor's office needs to vet as well.
Okay, so that would
But
be the
they
next step.
also want the community to be super involved in the selection process as well. So not only the Arts Commission, but like the actual community that lives there itself. So something to think.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So yeah, I'm in discussion to connect with that committee, the corridor, the MLK corridor committee. So I'm hoping to have them in loop
We're losing you,
very
Leo.
soon. I will be a part of that process as well. Sorry.
How many
absolutely, I
local
will be
artists?
Part of that process. When you say local, are you saying Norwalk?
Yeah, like, I know we talked briefly about trying to get as many local artists in there. How many did you get local artists?
I would say five. I'm not sure exactly where some of the people, quite a few Connecticut artists.
Okay.
I know there was, someone from Stanford, a few from Bridgeport, I believe someone from Westport. So they're definitely all from the area.
Okay.
And yeah, that's kind of it. I did briefly hear Weverson speaking. The Rise Up is definitely someone I've talked to. Actually, one of their artists is involved. Oh, actually, he's from Hartford. That artist was from Hartford. So he is involved in the project. And also, we're trying to put together a proposal for the student part of this whole presentation, which Mad Lab is actually involved in. So it's all in the family. And that's it.
So Julio, it was a little bit hard to hear you through at least a quarter of what you were saying. Could you possibly follow up by email and just lay out the sort of the next set of moving parts? And
Yes.
from a communications committee point of view, anything involving the public, I definitely want to be really on top of. Anything
Yep.
that could involve emailing, social media, or newsletter, etc. Any way that we need to involve the community, I definitely want to be aware of.
Yep.
And the only question I had is, were you still accepting email credentials at this point, or is that cut off now?
I mean, it just, I mean, obviously, if there's someone that's ready and can bring it to the table, absolutely. But I just want to wrap this part of it up so that we can get the brief going. So
Yeah.
if you know someone or anyone, definitely put them forth. And I'm like, not going to turn away someone just because of a deadline. But at some point, I have to put it so that we can brief everybody and get everyone going.
Yeah, I totally understand. In terms of our social media at this point, do you feel like we don't need to do another round of social media in terms of looking for new ones?
I don't. I think we've got more than enough as far as talent is concerned. I feel very, very confident in the people that we do have. So I'm ready to go with the set of people we have.
Okay, great. That's great. All right, thank you so much for the update. And if you could follow up with an email, that'd be great. Just so we're very clear on the moving parts.
Will do.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Was there anything else as far as infrastructure?
I think this is Molly Street.
So Mark, I talked about the Art Speak and I sent you that proposal. I don't know if I don't think it's on the agenda, but when do you want to start talking about that?
Oh, that's right. That's right, Sabrina. I think we were going to add it to the agenda.
And then we had the barriers on Washington. I think we got to, I don't know if we have to vote on that.
Yeah, the new business stuff, you have to, well, we already kind of talked about B, but the A and C have to be voted on. And then I didn't see the Art Speak stuff. So
Okay.
if you want to talk about it now, though, it could be in the event discussions thing. It's fine. As long as we don't have to physically vote on anything, you could still talk about it.
Okay. So Bob, do you want to talk about your proposal in general? And then we will
Do we have
put it on
time?
make sure we put it on the agenda for next month. Because if we are going to fund it, we're going to need to fund it in July anyway.
Sure.
Bob, we have unlimited Zoom tonight, so don't worry about timing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not that we're going to go on forever, but we're not going to get kicked off. So
Got it.
You
I
have
can-
unlimited.
Can you
Zoom.
can I share? Because I have it up here. I can
yeah,
share.
if you just go to share, it should.
Yeah,
let
yeah.
you.
No, but you're sharing, so I don't want to override you. Let me
Oh,
know if you get-
I remember why it wasn't on the agenda, because Sabrina and I talked to you about the fact that I thought that this should happen under the infrastructure committee, decided on the committee level, and then brought to the commission for voting.
Oh,
Because it
okay.
started as a committee project. And so it seemed like, rather than Bob, you make your specific proposal to the commission, it seemed more appropriate that you work on it on a committee level and then
All right.
to the commission.
So-
I'm not
so let's do
against you talking about it now, but that, I remember that's why what we had discussed.
Yeah, I think everyone understands the concept of the Art Speak, right? So it's a forum for discussion for the arts. We originally wanted to do a live event at the Wall Street Theater. It was like a graffiti and urban arts type of concept when Peter and I were originally talking through it. I think we're coming out of COVID, but I don't see this as a huge live event. I thought we could do it sometime in the summer, July, August. And, Mark, we talked maybe briefly about having it at the Factory Underground. We'd have a limited audience, and then it would be a streamed event. So it would be moderated. We'd have guest artists. It would be promoted. I thought the first topic we can discuss within infrastructure, but it could be just something like the art scene in general in Norwalk. There's a lot going on in Norwalk, and we could have, up to 8 to 10 participants. We can have, someone from the commission certainly participate. We'd have a variety of different artists, and it would be moderated. So there'd be questions that would come up, and the artist would then speak. So like an open roundtable discussion, if you will. It would be promoted, and then we would broadcast it. So it's generally the idea.
It's a great idea. And just to let you know, when I was at Norwalk Art Place last week, I was having a meeting with Duvian, and then I told him about the Art Speak idea, and he said he volunteered Norwalk Art Place as a potential meeting place for the.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We can do it there. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
that'd be good to help promote that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was really excited about that,
Yeah.
as well as excited about participating in general.
That's great. Brian, I had you down as one of the guest artists, so that's just I haven't talked to you about it yet, but.
Gonna say, honored, but
Yeah. So that's the idea. I think it would be great for the Arts Commission. We can have interesting topics again through Brian's infrastructure committee. We can talk through what the topic could be, but there's a lot of great art here in Norwalk, so I don't think we have a shortage of things to talk about. And I think, if you have 10 or 12 artists or 8 artists, they're going to bring people. It could be several, I think we'd get a pretty good attendance on it, and we'd have limited live attendees. So I don't know how much, the art space holds, but with social distancing still kind of in effect, maybe that would only be 50 or 75 people there, but then we'd broadcast it live.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting. And it came up because I spoke to, I met this new guy who's working with the city of Norwalk, and Gerald Moore. He's
Okay.
he's advising the formation of the Equity and Justice for All Commission that Mayor Rilling is forming in the city of Norwalk. But he himself is concerned. He's an arts consultant, so he's advising the arts he's the arts aspect of equity and talking about creating, you know, equity and arts opportunities within the city of Norwalk. So he's an interesting guy. We had a lot
Yeah.
of interesting things to talk about. So that was one of the subjects that he had said, oh, that might be a great thing to talk about for within Art Speaks.
Yeah, that could be, again, open topic of discussions. We can just add that as a, because I don't know if I want to pigeonhole it to like one specific topic. I think there's just so much great stuff within Norwalk. It could be meaty, meaty dialogue. So again, through Brian's infrastructure committee, we can come up with that.
Yeah. And so that would be good if Brian, if you can, when you can schedule that meeting and then you guys can meet on that and then come back for next month and, with a specific recommendation, that'd be great.
Yeah. Brian, I'll email you the write-up that I have and all.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, let's get it moving.
All right.
All right. So we can move on to the Washington Street Barrier Project. So Bob, why don't we kick it over to you or Sabrina, whoever wants to take off on that.
I think Sabrina might be better on this one because she's getting a lot more direction. I think she's met with the mayor and he gave us guidance creatively what he wants to see. So Sabrina.
Yeah, so we're gonna, I mean, you can kind of talk to this too, Bob, but we're gonna use the artwork digitally from the last show that occurred at the Maritime Gallery, so that we can turn it around a bit quicker. And then we're gonna print probably 4 different designs rotating that meld well together to cover the barriers. As of next year, we won't have the barriers up, so we won't need to worry about that, like I mentioned before, but we're hoping for, by July 1st to get that installation. We're getting the price quotes hopefully back by the end of this week, so we can hopefully get a lesser price than we got last time, considering there's a little bit more barriers than there were last year. And then from that point, we'll expend a portion of the Arts Commission budget. And if there's a gap, like I mentioned in the beginning of the meeting, my budget will then cover that. And that's basically it. But what we wanted to get approved tonight was payments to the actual artists themselves as well, instead of just the printing costs. So Bob, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so generally, when Sabrina approached me with the next barrier project, and I guess the mayor was talking about just having four designs that were repeated. So there's 32 barriers. So that would be like 8 sets of the 4. We could probably, Brian, maybe this is something that we can talk about in infrastructure, but I just thought, well, listen, we're curating the Maritime Garage Gallery. There's a lot of great art in there. The last show was Splash, so it was generic in nature, but some really good art was presented. So we can select four works out of that show without worrying about having to create new art for this, because we need a quick turnaround. But to give the artist a stipend, something, right? So it's digital. It's not like they have to create it again, and it could be, it could be $100 an artist to allow us to use their art for this project.
So what was the reason for only choosing 4 pieces?
Yeah,
We didn't want to have the 32 different barriers. The mayor's office wanted to have consistency throughout the street. So that's what we did in the winter as well. We only had a couple as opposed to 32 different ones.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand not having 32 individual pieces, but having 4 repeated 8 times seems like.
I mean,
Mark,
I love all the different pieces personally. I really do. I think it makes it a lot more interesting, but art is subjective. Everyone has their own kind of point of view. We can do we have to just divide by 32 or come up with the right increment, whether it's 5 or 6 or, we can still.
Yeah,
do
and
it.
we can talk about that. I'm fine with doing the 6 as long as there's just not a ton of different ones,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So-
I can work again with Brian and we can go through a lot of those selections and it could be 8 different ones, but they all kind of feel and look in the same. So it doesn't seem choppy, it has a nice flow to it.
Yeah, I think that's the main point the mayor's office is trying to make, is that it's not like seeing fish on one and seeing, just plain old green on the next one, just so that it kind of melts together. So if we have, even if we have 10, but they all look good next to each other because they're similar in color and similar in vibe, then that's fine. I think it's just the cohesiveness that they're looking for. So
That's what I love about the art field. Everybody's an art director.
Yeah.
Why did I go to school for 5 years? I don't know. I'm only kidding, Sabrina. So so let Brian and I take this and we'll present some options. I think we got some good stuff.
But as far as the expenditure for the artists, I like the idea that these artists have already created this work. So this is more or less not so much a commission as almost basically just like a license to use that work for this additional usage.
Exactly. And they've submitted, that's the problem. They've submitted for social media, which the quality is not great. So I'd have to go through and make sure that whatever we select, we can get good quality images digital.
Right. And Sabrina, is there any sort of agreement that we need to have with these artists for this extended usage of their work?
yes, but it'll just be the same thing that we had last time. So it's just copy and pasting the new names in if they're new names and having them re-sign it.
Yeah, we got that. We got that paperwork.
Right. So as far as the $100 for artist, I'm totally fine with that. The number of artists that we choose then only affects the total amount that we're spending.
Right. So if we do 4, it's only $400. If we did, 8, obviously $800.
If it was 8, Sabrina, do we have the money in the budget for that?
In my budget, we do. It's just the gap that I'm covering will be different. So I already have an expenditure of 5,000 coming out of my budget from the printing budget, but I have a total of 9. So I have a flex of 4 and we have around 7 in your budget. So it should be okay. Just depends on what kind of deal we get on the banners themselves and the printing of those to see how much we can play with. But I think we'll have $1,000.
Okay, so so then I'll ask, do we have a nomination for the to spend that $1,000 on artist payments, or up to $1,000 for artist payments?
I'd like to nominate that.
And thank you for that motion. Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Can we have a vote by ayes with your name? Starting Mark Allen, aye.
Janet Evelyn, aye.
Melissa Matuska, aye.
Nora Gruden, aye.
Brian Casper, aye.
Jolie Leung, aye.
Steve Rust, aye.
Oh, hi, Stephen.
Hello.
Thank you for coming in, Stephen. I'm glad to know you're here. That's 7 ayes. Do we have any opposed? Any abstains? Okay, the ayes carried. Thank you so much for that. So Bob, then as you go forward and you end up choosing the pieces and the artists, you'll let us know what the actual expenditure is going to be.
Yeah. It's not going to be 1,000, but probably 8 because you can do it 4 times. That would be the highest amount. So we'll I'll let Brian and I will go through it and then we'll present the final and we'll show you what we come up with.
Great. Sabrina, under discussion of sponsorship funding for Arts Commission, we essentially have already discussed that, right? So
Yeah, I was hoping to have the operating budget by today, which is why I kept that on there. But I didn't get it. So I'll keep this on for next month's agenda so we can actually look at the numbers.
Okay, excellent. And Okay, very good. So in terms of approving the additional 4 hours from Michelle Rakowski for the newsletter, did anybody have any questions or thoughts about that? Anything counter to that?
What is her hourly rate?
It's a good question.
I can pull it up for you. Give me 1 second. I know we pay her $625 a month as of right now, but let me go check.
While Sabrina's looking that up, my one sort of concern, I guess, with the monthly newsletter, while I absolutely think it's a great idea, I think Bob brought up a little bit of a good point earlier about making this more quarterly, just because of the clogging of inboxes and making sure we actually have content to put in that newsletter. Mark, I know you see the Wall Street Neighborhood Association newsletter. It's painful to receive that newsletter every month. Love them, but it just feels like sometimes when you're sort of fishing for content, you'll end up getting a lot of unsubscribes, and this is just like kind of a side note thing, and maybe considering doing this something just a little fleshier every other month, just something to consider.
Yeah.
And it's $25 an hour for her rate. That's
Oh
what.
Jesus, can I hire her for my newsletter?
I mean, I'm open to doing it quarterly or bi-monthly. I mean,
We
I don't
can
know.
start, why don't we start quarterly just to do it? You know, I think Brian's making a good point that I don't know if we're gonna have enough topics every month.
You don't
But
think
what-
so with all the art events that we have throughout the city? I mean, if we were doing this quarterly and we wanted to talk now about Make Music Day, that event would pass before that even would happen.
Well,
We were going
newsletter
to
can
talk
have-
about
I know, but a newsletter can have
events. We're either talking about things that are happening, 6 weeks in the future or have just passed.
Yeah.
It just seems to me that like
you just
one
think
newsletter
about
every 2.5
on
months seems to be like.
But on an annual basis, like if there's 30 events in Norwalk that are really good topics, we could easily cover 30 events in 4 issues where we would talk through them all, right? And a newsletter should have multiple topics, so that's why it's really interesting to read it. So I just feel like let's start small, and I'd hate to start doing a newsletter every month and we end up, it drops off that we don't put the time into it.
Well, that's why that's what the point is of having administrative staff. Or to me, the communication and the outreach to me is the most important thing that we should be doing.
Yeah.
The Arts Commission.
Okay.
I feel informing the arts community of Norwalk as far as
Well, let's do one. Let's get one under our belt, and then we'll go from there.
I think the best way to go about this is to approve the line item as it is, and just if Michelle, this will be Michelle's max per month. So if she spends less, so if we do it quarterly, at least we have it approved. So we have the money set aside.
And just tweak it as needed in
Exactly.
February when there's nothing
And
going
then-
on. We don't
And
do
then
it
same
anymore.
thing when it comes towards the end of the month of next year and we realize we have some surplus, we can give the money to, other projects that we might have.
I think that sounds like a great plan.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve the line item?
I'll motion to approve this line item, Brian Casper.
And do we have a second for that?
I'll second it. Nori Gruden.
All right, do we have any opposed? Let's start with that. Do we have any abstains? And ayes with your name, please. Mark Allen, aye.
Bob Abriola, aye.
Janet Evelyn, aye.
Brian Casper,
Melissa-
aye.
Melissa Matuska, aye. Jolie Leung, aye.
Steve Rust, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. The ayes carry. Sabrina, was there any other items of old business that were not itemized, but that you have?
I do not.
I'd like to bring up a piece of old business that's about an hour old. Weverson sent me a message while we've been chatting, and I think he got a little hung up. We all got a little hung up on the sponsorship aspect of the art manifestation. And I think what he was hoping to achieve in this meeting, of course, tell you guys all about it, but was to get it sort of as like a Norwalk Arts Commission sanctioned event. We did this before, it's maybe 2 years ago, actually with an event at Mad Lab. I remember this, where we sort of supported it and we voted on that. I don't know, maybe the rules have changed, but he sent me that message just saying that he was hoping to get some sort of, I think more or less to stick it into his proposal, probably to help shop it, to be real.
Yeah.
But I'll let him talk about that a little bit, but he sent me a message, so I just want to make sure we don't miss that.
I think the main thing for this is that you need approval to use our logo. So that's kind of where that comes from. So he could put it on his stuff essentially. So we can, since it was an item to discuss that, we could potentially vote on them using the logo. It's nothing with expenditures of money. So it's fine if we want to do something like that.
Yeah, that was really kind of, I think, where we left off at the earlier meetings, that you guys wanted to kind of see more information. And we did send a newsletter to April 6th. It was, what was the email?
It was Live Love Norwalk.
Yeah, we sent it to Live Love Norwalk. It was before we kind of made it all look pretty, but it was the exact same information. But the real goal today was to just, so that we continues to promote and ask for more sponsorship, is to just say that this is supported by the Norwalk Arts Commission, and it's like approved and supported by the commission, so that we can kind of continue to kind of get that clout and that kind of validation as we promote. And then in addition, that, like, you know, we do also want to provide, we also want 2 Arts Commission members to participate as judges. And then this would kind of be what happens regardless if the commission decides to sponsor us next, you know, in the next quarter or whatever it was that we discussed. That will be up for discussion in next month. But for today, our goal is to really get the support so that we can add the logos to our marketing, and we can kind of communicate to the public that, yeah,
It just becomes part of our narrative, right? Like it becomes part of the story. We're just looking for the support of the Norwalk Arts Commission as part of the project. And then we've also reserved 2 judge seats for the mural competition. That is a big piece of the project in itself.
In addition to that, if you guys want to use the Visit Norwalk logo, feel free to. I can also send that to you guys.
I just want to make sure that, is that the correct email? The livelovenorwalk@gmail.com?
That is the correct email for the Arts Commission.
Where does that
Okay,
go,
all
Mark?
right, because I remember that's the email that we jotted down after the meeting in April, and we sent out the deck then.
yeah, it came from the Mad Lab.
Where does that go though, Mark? That Live Love?
Everybody has access to it.
Well, we got to
I
go
don't
in
know.
and pull, we don't get it to our personal email, right? We got to go pull it down.
If you guys want to,
I'll make sure everybody has the password for it, but everybody has access to it.
you guys
everybody
can
should have
also use my email, like my schurch@norwalkct.org one, and I'll just make, if you write in the, heading to make sure that I share it with all of them, I can just send it out as well.
Okay, thanks, Sabrina.
Thank you.
It's actually the deck we sent with you when we met, I think 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you want, you can forward
This one's
that.
a little prettier though, this newer
Yeah,
one.
you can just forward it to me and I'll make sure everybody gets it.
Okay, we'll
Thank
do
you.
that. But yeah, so as far as I think you mentioned the Visit Norwalk logo. Yeah, we can throw that in as well. I think that just adds to the branding, to the story. Yeah.
essentially that, that is ultimately what we're looking for. I mean, we kind of want to make this a Norwalk thing, and we tag Norwalk Arts Commission. Well, I personally tag Norwalk Arts Commission on literally everything that we post. So, I mean, I'd love to do that with approval, and just having the logo on everything that we produce moving forward as part of the art manifestation, just makes the story greater.
And we can leave the word sponsorship out until like the next meeting whenever that happens. But yeah, for today is just hey, do we have your support? Can we use your logo as a Arts Commission sanctioned event?
We would love your support.
And just so everybody knows, with the Arts Commission, as far as new members and stuff, there is a long precedence of the Arts Commission doing this kind of endorsement. I had events endorsed by the Arts Commission before I was even a member, and with much less vetting than what we're asking Weverson to do. And from what I've seen, I mean, he's going through the special event permit process with the city. He is really taking due diligence as far as I can see, and making sure that this is a very upscale event. I personally am very comfortable providing that endorsement. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that, or objections, or opinions? Does anybody, would anybody like to make a motion for such an endorsement?
I'll motion to have the Norwalk Arts Commission endorse and support this event.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Steve Rust, I'll second that.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Can we get a vote by aye with your name? I wholeheartedly vote aye. Mark Allen.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Melissa Matuska, I.
Bob
Thank you,
Ebriola,
Melissa.
aye.
Thank you, Mark.
Janet Evelyn, I.
Nori Gruden, aye.
Jolie Leung, I.
Brian Casper, aye.
Excellent. So the ayes carry. No abstentions and no nays.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. Who do we go the logo from and all that stuff? Should we just once we send it?
I'll send
Go
it to
ahead.
you with the Visit Norwalk one.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I appreciate you guys very much. We're
Thank
very
you for coming
excited.
back. Thank
Of
you for
course.
sending that
I'll come
notice.
back next month.
We'll be back next
We'll
month.
come back next month for the money, though.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
We do.
And thank you, Brian, for speaking up. Was there any other old business before we move to adjourn?
Oh, so we really meant that about the mural competition. I guess, would you guys, I guess maybe we can talk about that the next meeting as well, regardless of the sponsorship.
Right.
That could be a thing to discuss who would like to participate in as the judge. So just so that we can add that to the agenda.
And Brian, maybe you want to make that a something for the infrastructure committee to talk about.
Yeah, that's a good
offline.
idea.
I think that would be the best thing to do. Okay, thank you so much. Sabrina, you have anything else before we motion to adjourn?
Nope, I'm all set.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn, Bob Ebriola.
Do we have a second for that?
Janet Evelyn, second.
Do we have any nays on adjournment? There are no nays and no abstains, I'm assuming. All right. That's Mark Allen saying aye.
Nori Gruden, aye.
Melissa
Casper, aye.
Matuska, I.
Brian Casper, aye.
Steve Rust, aye.
Jolie Leung, I.
All right, guys, carry. So have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for your time.
Good night.